Hi there, my name is Lucy Thompson. I'm a medical tattoo artist, TEDx speaker and founder of the UK's first mastectomy tattoo charity, the Nipple Innovation Project. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm here to talk all about traditional tattoo techniques and shading and why it's different, and why I use my skills as a traditional tattoo artist since 2013, why I use the skills that I've learned and used over the past 12 years, and I teach them and I also use them in my practice as a medical tattoo artist. It's really important to take care of the skin that we're working with. When we're working with people that have had reconstructive surgery, mastectomy surgery, there tends to be scar tissue, their skin tends to be quite fragile and compromised, I would say. It's very reactive, but we often don't know how that skin's going to react until we start tattooing. Obviously, coming from my background as a traditional tattoo artist, I am used to using a variety of different needle configurations, specifically large curved magnums. They are fantastic for working on different body parts, different areas of the body where the skin is thinner, thicker, more stretchy, less stretchy. It allows to give me the skills to work with a variety of different skin types. And obviously, throughout any type of tattooing, our mission is to create the artwork, whatever we're creating, whether that be a decorative design, maybe that could be considered permanent makeup tattoos or a 3D nipple tattoo in this instance of medical tattooing. We never want to cause any trauma. The mission is to implant the pigment into the skin as quickly as possible whilst causing as minimal trauma as possible, so the skin heals beautifully and the pigment sits in those layers of skin and lasts over time. Through my mentorship and training program, I teach a lot of tattoo artists in the work that I do. I am also very lucky to teach a lot of PMU artists, and in my experience, a lot of PMU artists have very limited experience in working with larger needle configurations, which kind of makes sense, I suppose. When you're working on a tattoo on the face, on the eyebrow or the eyeliner, you're not going to be using a needle with, say, 13 needles in it, for example. It would just be too much in such a short space. So smaller needle configurations like 3 round liners, single round liners are really suitable for that type of work. However, due to some research and freedom of information requests that I've done over the years, I have also discovered that the techniques that are taught by practitioners that are teaching clinicians in NHS hospitals are exactly the same as permanent makeup techniques. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to have to challenge this, because whilst those smaller needle configurations are perfect for getting super fine details, hair strokes on eyebrows that look so realistic, that is the goal for a lot of us. We want to create tattoos that look realistic. They are perfect for that type of work. But when it comes to an areola, you've got to think it's sort of 3, 4, 5, 6 times the size of an eyebrow. So to continuously work in the skin with such a small needle configuration, such as a 3 or a 1 round liner, it's inevitable that it's going to take you much longer to do the tattoo. That also opens up the risk for you to opening up the skin, potentially causing more damage. Now, not for 1 second am I saying everyone that uses these needles is causing damage to people, but I have seen countless examples of this. It's usually from people with limited to no previous tattoo experience. They are told by a training company that you need to dig in deeper if the tattoo doesn't stay in. Trust me, that is not the case. You can simply approach it in a different way by using traditional tattoo techniques. It means that you can spend much less time in the skin. You can be more intentional with your tattoo technique, and that means that you implant pigment into the skin quicker, causing less trauma to the body, which is, in my opinion, the most important part of offering this service. It needs to be safe. This isn't a cosmetic tattoo that you are getting because the fashions have changed. This is a body part that's been replaced due to what cancer has taken away. And I feel very strongly and passionately that as an artist, it's my responsibility, and as a trainer, it's my responsibility to educate people on the importance of these tattoos. I feel like that's maybe got a little bit lost in society these days. So here I am trying to explain my reasons why and share some tips with you. So in my training, I train people, like I said, from all walks of life, and I always teach them to use the larger needle configurations. And the reason for this is because there's much more space in between those needles, which allows for the skin to glide through the needles a lot easier and safer, whilst you are getting a feel and feedback from the skin. The skin tells you a story if you listen. If you take your thoughts and feelings out of it and you give your full undivided attention to the skin that you are tattooing, it really does tell you a story. So my go-to needles for 3D nipple tattoos are a 3-round liner. I would never go smaller than that. In my opinion, a single round liner is way too sharp. Even for someone like myself with lots of experience with all the needle configurations, I really just feel that that's a risk you don't need to take, because as well as the sharpness of the needle, we are tattooing over fragile skin and scar tissue. The pigment often drops out, or it fades to a point where you can't see it, or it can really grab under the skin and then merge and spread under the skin over time. So I always keep that into consideration. I tend to use a 7 or a 9 round shader for some of my smaller intricate details. I really like those because I can use the double up as a liner. I like a really soft liner, which allows me again to get a feel for the skin and how it reacts to being tattooed. And then my favourite needle has to be a 13 curve mag. I tend to use this for all my tattoos unless I'm doing male areola tattoos, which are physically a lot smaller. And I just love this needle because it's so soft. It's like a paintbrush. As an artist who's grown up painting, and I really like to experiment with different needle configurations and sizes. And for me, the 13 curve mag does so much for me. I can colour pack with it, I can blend, I can shade, I can line with it if I want to. Like, gaining those key skills from using a needle that I've used in my traditional tattoos for the past 12 years has really helped me create confidence and a lot of advanced skills when I'm working with my magnums. So I love those, and I teach everybody that comes and learns with me to use them. And for people that have never used the mag before, they always end up leaving me feeling like, yes, I love this. This makes perfect sense. I love the result. You get a much softer result when you're blending colours together. You get a much softer blend, a much more natural blend. And for me, a natural result is really what it's all about. I wanted to do a little bit of an experiment because I've spoken to some people who feel very passionate about using a single liner only for their areola tattoos. I actually wanted to make a comparison that my colleague once told me. Think of it like you're laying on a bed of nails. With a single liner, if you were to lay on a single nail, it would cause excruciating pain and it would cause damage. But imagine if you laid on a bed of 13 nails. Think of how that pain and that damage, that trauma would be distributed, and it would cause a lot less damage and trauma to the skin. And I think that's a really good comparison to say when you're talking about these different needle types. It's not about, you're okay to question the narrative. You're okay to look and want to learn more and to seek alternative options. So I actually wanted to do a little bit of an experiment to see for time and see how, what a difference it would make using my techniques with the larger needle configurations and then using just nothing but a single round liner. So I'm going to start off using my traditional tattoo techniques, my curved mag, 9 round shader and 3 round liner. And I set up a little timer. I was so curious to see what the difference in time would be. This is not my most realistic detailed work. It was kind of a basic kind of nipple to work from, but I wanted to replicate that with the different techniques. So you can see that we're 11 minutes in and I've nearly completed the tattoo as I'm adding the whites here. And yeah, we can see just took about 14 minutes there to do that tattoo. So now the experiment, I wanted to create this whole tattoo with nothing but a single liner, which, as I mentioned, is crazy in my mind. But I really wanted to challenge myself and see what people do and how they build up results. And I think for people that are extremely experienced and skilled and talented with a single liner, potentially, yes, that is not a problem. But I think teaching people that are new to this service to use a single liner for the whole tattoo is kind of crazy. Obviously, I have 12 years of tattoo experience, so I am no stranger to working with single liners. But I really just felt, see, we've bypassed the time from the previous tattoo already. And I was layering and layering and layering the skin here. I was going over to try and get the same soft results that I did with my 13 curve mag. In my opinion, there's absolutely no comparison. It kind of got to a point in the tattoo that I just felt like I'm going to start overworking the skin here. I'm not getting the results that I want. There's been several passes. So yeah, for me, after doing this experiment, which you can see the tattoo, the PMU techniques take nearly twice the time, it's a no from me. But you can see there's a bit of a difference there. We've got the tattoo with my techniques here, and then I did that with nothing but a single round liner. I mean, they're not bad. They're not my best work. I was just rushing, but I really wanted to do a little bit of an example, a comparison. I wanted to do a test, I guess, to see what time difference it would make using different techniques. The tattoo techniques actually took nearly half the time of the PMU techniques with a single liner. And to be honest, towards the end of the PMU tattoo, I'd just gone over the skin. I'd layered so many layers that I felt that I didn't want to continue, because I was like, this is crazy. I could never imagine doing this over scar tissue or skin that's been through radiotherapy, that has burns, that's fragile or necrosis, you know, death of body tissue. I couldn't dream of working the skin in that way. It just didn't make logical sense to me. Let me know what you think about the video, and if you and what your go-to needles for doing medical tattoos, and what you think about my theory of me suggesting that traditional tattoo techniques and shading is a much more safer and consistent way of offering long-lasting, realistic, soft results for medical tattoos. I hope you liked the video today. I had a lot of fun making it. I love to do these little experiments. I would love to hear from you what you thought about this experiment, if you agree or if you don't agree. I'm always open to having these conversations. And tell me, what needles do you use? And have I inspired you to maybe want to give the curved magnums a try? If you have, let me know. I would love to hear it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with more tips and tricks that I'll be sharing throughout the year. Thank you.